Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Haruka Gadash. The most the elder apostles, great most on the real world, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of sharing truth. Um, yeah, you got another step in this digital ID, development. They basically got they're trying it on a smaller scale where you're having it utilized as the for veterans, and this is kind of you know has always been mentioned that they'll start with particular groups. It was the same thing with the juice man, where they had it where it was like nurses, doctors, what was the term, key workers or whatever it was, were like offered it first, and then it kind of went out over like in a broader sense. So with this, you've got veterans, military veterans. This is what it says on The Guardian. It says, launch of veteran card will be used to test UK government's digital ID scheme. It says, ministers hope scheme for 1.8 million people will show how technology works and ease privacy and security concerns. And yes, it's basically they're just bulldozing with this. It's not a matter of any kind of resistance people are kind of trying to put up against it. Is really just being shown as it's not really gonna amount to much, because even the amount of people utilizing this the veteran card, funny enough, is going to be less less than the amount of people that signed the petition that don't want it. But that shit don't matter. That whole petition is doesn't it's what's it, a placebo effect, or it's kind of there to make people think something can happen more than anything. So it says proof of service, which in its current physical version gives access to charities, retail discounts, and certain public services, will be the first of a series of official credentials the government wants to let people carry in the government app. So yeah, it's not just it's various things being heaped together, and that's really what it's kind of being used for. Because it says digital driving license will be in development by the end of this year, and by the end of 2027, digital versions of every government issued credential, including disclosure and borrowing checks, will be offered for voluntary use. So yeah, they're looking to have it apply to everything. But then what did it say? It said voluntary use, but the key thing is what Keir Starmer wants to make carrying a digital ID mandatory for anyone wanting or needing to prove they have the right to work in the UK by the end of this parliament. So I think it's next year, 2020 or 2027 actually, I think would be the next time they'll have to go to vote. So by 2027, once it where everyone's having to fuck with the digital ID. And they're saying it's voluntary to put something, but then it's the right to works on there, and that's the key one. No one can buy or sell without that. So what does it say? The plan sparked cross-party opposition and a 2.9 million signature petition calling for it to be dropped. But the technology secretary Liz Kendall this week complained of scaremongering and said digital IDs would not be used to track citizens, and there will be no pooling of people's private information into a single central data set. Which there's absolutely no reason for anyone to believe any of that. Because the thing is even with China, with their online proof of ID thing, they used to have it until I think last year, or maybe it was earlier in this year. I can't actually remember the exact timeline. They used to have it where each of the websites would independently store the verification of like who's using the site, who's checking in. But then, they're saying because of data leaks and safety, the government had to create a central place where it's got maximum security, blah blah blah, and it'll be completely safe. And then with the UK, the what's it called? The what fucking what region was it in? No, it was I believe for Discord, the age verification where you have to either take a picture and then like have AI check the picture, or share ID. Like that got leaked already. The company they were using to verify on Discord got leaked, and then they also lost certain people's payment information, and yeah, they lost certain thingies, payment information, and then okay, yeah, they lost certain well, I say they lost, they leaked out, so someone nabbed it, so they've already got it kind of set up on that pathway to where if you're what do you call it, you're gonna have Facebook keeping their, and the thing is as well is because it's like private companies. You already had the whole issue years back of like Facebook with selling what was it, government, not even government, just selling users data and all those things. Like these things have already become a big sweeping conversation that everyone's kind of invested in. So more extreme measures as far as security goes, be required. And then, it all goes to the mark, man. All goes to that charagma. All goes to that implantable microchip, man. That's the key, like end goal, end space it will end up in. Because as what ministers hope, the digital veteran card will show how the technology works and quash public concerns about privacy and security. Kendall said it will help remove barriers, reduce red tape, and make it easier for people to access the public services they need. Which is, the whole draw of like saying like, ease, blah blah blah. These things are, oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, yes. Yeah, ease. Those things are all meant to be. Okay, yeah, actually, it's just disconnected. Okay, fair enough. These things are all meant to, ease and make it so, you don't have to stress about X, Y, Z. You can kind of just have it all in one space. If you're, and then certain services, should be easier. What does it say? So, the Royal British Legion, a veterans charity that sells poppies, called the card a positive development and said it could improve access to services and benefits for the armed forces communities. Funny thing is like a lot of these that are like up in age, they're not gonna, not gonna, like, man, don't fuck with technology like that anyway. So how much more so, what is this stuff? Okay, now it's working again. Cool. Um, don't fuck with technology like that anyway. So a lot of them it's not really gonna be to their to their benefit to even to even fuck with those things as much as they're saying. Well, that's kind of a big part of it to kind of push everyone onto it. Because I remember it was like, even with like debit cards, um, getting people to use contactless, that was, the lockdowns pushed that heavily. Because there was a lot of people that didn't have contactless cards, and it wasn't until the lockdown where a lot of parts of London said, "Oh, we only take contactless." You had a lot of like smaller companies start up where they'll just sell the little tap squares or whatever, and that form of taking payment, and then that became a standard. Um, especially inside London, it took over crazy. But yeah, they'll push it. What does it say? So, but other veterans oppose it. Okay. Other veterans oppose it. Stephen Kent, the media director of Veterans Association UK, a small not-for-profit members group, said, "We don't need it. It's not for what Labour says it's for. A lot of veterans don't like the idea of it, and they are using us as an experiment." And that they are using us as an experiment. Yeah. That's the thing, is it's like the reality of the matter is they are just using this as a situation where it's kind of just seeing like, oh, okay, how's this how's this gonna work in the wider space. It says, well, veterans will be able to hold the credential on a smartphone app called gov.uk one login, and then the one login is just, it's obviously centralize everything, and then for greater security, or the inability for someone can't get into your smartphone and then hack this or whatever, they'll just make it so it's okay. Have it stored, in your flesh. Then it's like, it's ultimate security, ultimate convenience. You can't forget it. You can't this. These are the things that they'll kind of use to sell, the draw, the appeal. What was it say? The government had previously said digital credentials, including the veteran card, would help be an app called the gov.uk wallet. And also says it will transition to talking about one logging as a gov.uk wallet as more government issues credentials become available digitally. So yeah, they changed some things from the wallet over to some things over from the wallet to what do you call it? Again out. To the one login thing. Because I think when they're initially talking about it was the wallet. So it says the credential will be stored under encryption in the app in a similar way to a train or concert ticket is held in Apple Google Wallet. Verification by Face ID or fingerprint will be required to access it. So your the fuck's the term? What's it? Not biometrics. That's the one. Biometrics as a standard already. And that's kind of, biometrics have been normalized heavily, even with like here in the UK at least, when they've already got digital passports as well, where it's like got RFID inside, and then when you tap in, it'll scan your face as well when you're going through the gates. So that's like a lot of these things already as standard, like they've just very easily like come into into acceptance in the mainstream, whether people are aware of it or not. It's kind of funny. Um, Another version of the credential will be held by the Ministry of Defence And when more IDs are added, the information will remain with each issuer and in the Citizens app, as there's no central database of all ID data, creating what some have feared could be a honeypot for hackers. Thing is, anyway, is like all these different people having to do it. Like a lot of because the one they've got now with what the fuck's it called, the needing to check, like do a face scan or show your passport to access certain sites already to prove you're older than 16 or whatever it is, in particular for now. These things now are already have a bunch of sites where it's like if they can't put enough money towards it, then they're just going to stop operating. And that's just in the UK presently. In the UK. But as it spreads out to more of Europe, they'll just be like, okay, well, we just can't function. And that will limit, a lot of things as well. Isn't it? And regardless, you're gonna have hackers getting into these things anyway, because that's not the end goal anyway. They really just want to get in. Once it's in, then you just have to hold that it's in, and then they can just push forward from that. It says what Kendall told Parliament on Monday, the government will absolutely not hand over any of the digital ID system containing information about people's lives. Ministers said they expect it to be built by the government's in-house digital services department. Industry estimates suggest it could cost about $1 billion to set up, ever allowing the government to track location, consumer spending habits, or social media activity. Yeah, I don't believe you, bro. And the thing is, anyways, people already tracking social media. Like these things are already being tracked. Funny enough. Weaponized by future governments, which is like, because the thing is as well, it's funny because they've basically got, so it's 2027 is the next next election, and everyone's like looking like reform's gonna be it, and reform was basically pushed in on the getting them out. So, you could have Labour force it through, lay the groundwork, and then similar with what happened with Trump, where he kind of inherited a certain, rhetoric and a mindset, but then he just took the action. You could have Farage come in and take the action, but we'll see. Because as far as it's like there's heavy resistance, they don't give a fuck. This shit's going through, because why? This is the main thing they've been after for a hot minute, man. They ain't gonna play with their food at this point. Yeah, they ain't gonna play with their food at this point. Says there, Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And yeah, that's the big push, man. The devil's come down with great wrath because he knows that he's got a short time, man. That's the truth of the matter, man. Is it's a big push. A big push being done to secure these things. And it's not really just reflective of the situation in the UK or Europe. It's really going to be a global push. Just like, that's the thing, it's like with the pandemic lockdowns. It's like things were pushed in one area, then it became standard everywhere. In Rask, like Africa, Asia, every corner of the earth. They're like, okay, we're locking down, we're doing X, Y, Z. What does it say? Ecclesiastes 12:10. Ecclesiasticus 12:10. So like, Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And that's really the key of dealing with Esau, dealing with his system. You know, when we're looking at like fully the full scope of it, it's like what? Really, it just comes down to that. Never trust thine enemy. Because looking at the whole situation, it's like, yeah, you can kind of see it's a bit BS what they're what they're trying to justify here. Like the shit don't make no sense. But yeah, yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom, shalom.